One attack upgrade is done. I think it's been done for a while here for Fayth as he is continuing to stick with Banshees, which of course is going to give you the mobility, but at the same time, you don't have a big brute force army to win a game. And so this Viking does have 5 kills, and he's gone as he just died like that. These Marines standing up on this cliff. Better not push your friend off there. It'll be like 300 where they're all like running off the cliff in that movie. Oh man, that's such a good movie. And so let's see. It looks like scans are just going down everywhere. And other than that, though, it does look like a macro fest so far. As I'm kind of curious to the income. Yeah, they both have taken a beating on their income as they get mined out. Although this is really starting to kick in for Jimmy, so he should be okay. I mean, look at this army. This is such a massive army that that Fayth is really going to have a difficult time dealing with because he only has air units, and you have to be really careful. And there are just scans going all over the place, so I guess they don't want to use their mules. But an expansion up here in the top left is done, but look how many SCVs are down here. I feel like we're watching worker ants. But here comes an attack right now with all the air units pretty much gonna try and kill as many workers as possible, as quickly as possible. This is the advantage, of course, of going massive air. You can just do these sort of strikes, and a little bit of micro is allowing Fayth to kill many more workers than I had originally thought, and the cloaking is done. There should be enough energy for several scans, though. And what are these Vikings doing? They're just sitting here taking a pounding as they weren't even trying, they weren't shooting anything. They were just kind of sitting there. So that battle, I think, would probably go into Fayth's favor because the amount of workers he killed. Look, this guy has 8 kills, another one has 4. That one has 5, and now they're flying down here to start killing these. So this is where this build, I think, really starts to be effective. Is when you can get enough Banshees, fly in, kill the turrets, and then just start killing SCVs. And so now the SCV, look at the SCV count right here, 25 harvesters for Jimmy, and Fayth now has 51. So this really started working. Now he can use his Vikings to actually shoot this down. So this build, it takes a lot of micro, but either way, at the same time, though, at the top left side, this expansion is going to go down. So both players are trading expansions. But unfortunately for Jimmy's sake, there were no SCVs there, which is really kind of peculiar for Fayth not to have any workers there. But the income now is actually in Fayth's favor, which I'm not quite sure how, because he's only mining from, well, he's barely mining from this base. And the medvacs, though, are going to try and do a big drop up here, it looks like, with a couple of siege tanks. Whoa, actually, where are these siege tanks? There we go, hard to click on. They are getting a lot of kills. They have about 30 kills total. And now he's going to use these Banshees. These Banshees used to do splash damage, but they don't anymore. And he really needs to use them on the tanks, which once the scan goes down, the Marines can burn them quite easily. So these siege tanks doing a massive amount of damage. At the same time, though, these Banshees are just tearing house over here. The Marines are desperately trying to sprint over here to clean this up. And, yeah, trying to use the high ground advantage, just being able to run out of the range of those Marines. This needs to get lifted off. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Goodbye, Command Center. Talk about a sweet death animation. And he starts building another command center there, but it's just going to die. Talk about a waste of money. I don't know what he was thinking there, especially since there's not even that many minerals here. So the income, look at both players. They are just taking a pounding on their economy as they both get whittled down to about 300 minerals per minute each. And so, wow, talk about back and forth here. I'm really not sure who is ahead right now, but just because both players have lost so many units. But as far as the worker count goes, Fayth is in the lead with his workers, but both players, I think, are going to lick their wounds, try and get themselves back into this game, and look how well secured this expansion is. Very, very well. But at the same time, he doesn't have this expansion up here in the top left side, which is very unfortunate for Fayth, and very good for Jimmy, as Jimmy is just going to be mining out this expansion in about no time, considering how many SCVs he has brought down here. But the income, once again, we really got to watch this. Look at this. This is Jimmy, rather, since he can get down here to this high yield. Look, he's at 800, and apparently Fayth is only at 170 because he has so few workers at an actual mining location right now that, wow, 1,000 minerals per minute here. I don't know how he's managing to pull that off on only 2 base, but it is really going to start paying off. He must have summoned a bunch of mules at the high yield or something. Or I guess not. He just has a lot of income right now, so that's really going to start paying off as he will just continue to be producing a massive amount. Let's look at APM. So again, the average APM is usually around 100 in StarCraft 2, just how the game reads it and stuff like that. But I'm really surprised to see a game this long on this map, because this map is such a small map, and it's just really easy to get into their base because of these rocks. You can kill the rocks and get into their base, and usually someone ends up making a mistake and losing in that regard. Surprised to see these SCVs not at least mining here and making something happen there. But I do like the scouting so far from Jimmy. He is scouting around to every expansion, making sure that nothing is going up. But a big attack is on the way, I think, for both players here but no upgrades for the meching units for anyone. The Banshees do have +1 attack, and so do the Marines. This guy really likes his hotkeys, but it looks like maybe a possible two-sided attack here, as the Banshees, though, getting the smoke off, gonna be able to clean this up. So really, Fayth has a lot less income, but he has a better army mixture right now. So if we look at the overall units, I think that Fayth has a better army with 10 tanks and the 9 Banshees, while ThisIsJimmy has more has more Vikings, but he just doesn't. I mean, he has a bunch of Marines, but I don't know. Siege tanks just seem like they're going to tear through that no problem. We are going to have to wait and see, though, as he should have the better income as well, as both players are trying to macro up. But ThisIsJimmy, every second that goes by, he's making more minerals than his opponent. And it's really going to come down, though, to these 2 expansions over here, because they are the only 2 on the map that have not been controlled, and someone is going to have to take control of them for this game to progress much longer, as both players are completely going to be mined out here. I mean, look, no one's even we have 1 SCV mining over here on these long-distance minerals, so that is going to take him quite a while to clean all of that stuff up. And so can Fayth hold this expansion, or is Jimmy going to take it? Jimmy making a huge mistake there. Got to be losing all of his Marines, and he's got to try and do a drop right here, but wow, talk about bad positioning on Jimmy's part, as now the Banshees are going to be a little bit too much there. Gonna get the confidence they need, but ThisIsJimmy still has the higher income, which I don't know how. It's this high yield, man. These really start to pay off if you can hold them long enough. And so he is going to be replace his army much quicker. I don't think he should continue making Marines, which he is. I just don't like that. I don't know why he's making so many Marines, especially since they're dying so quickly to those siege tanks. I really think he needs to, well, I don't even know what, because there is so much air, so I guess he can only get Marines. So the attack, though, from Fayth is going to happen right now. It's a pretty big attack. Cloaking is going down. The Vikings pretty much just shooting back and forth, but 1 Vikings have 1 attack upgrade, and the other ones do not. So obviously the ones with the attack upgrade are going to win, and this command center is going to go down, which there are still a couple of minerals here. But I just guess he decides to fly in here, going to try and take out a couple more tanks. But the Vikings are getting quickly outnumbered here by his opponent. And so Fayth may lose this battle if he's not too careful with his units. And yes, he did. He needs to get out of here right now with these Banshees, because the scans are just going to continue to go down and continue to destroy these Banshees, as there are so many orbital commands. I mean, they're just all over the place how many scans he can do. And so now the Banshees are forced to retreat there, which they should have retreated a little bit earlier. I'm not sure why he flew up here to harass that. He really should have finished off this command center. Really interesting idea there. I don't know quite why he did that, but now he's going to try and kill these to reduce the amount of Vikings on the map. But with the scan going down, these Banshees are completely helpless. But with more Vikings coming to reinforce, this is definitely back and forth here. I can't believe this contain is still set up, by the way. It's been there the entire game. And so the Banshees should be able to kill this starport, but no, they decide to run away from 1 Viking. This Viking feeling like a total baller as he held that off just barely by himself. And he will be able to repair this no problem. So the expansion, though, for ThisIsJimmy is still ahead, as he was able to take this expansion. And Fayth still has not taken his high yield. This Marine is like, yeah, I'm preventing this expansion from going down. That is how cool I am. So someone's going to have to do something a little bit different here, as still Vikings and only Vikings. Wow, that's actually a lot of Vikings. I think he realizes he has enough Banshees to deal with any sort of Marines right now, because there's very few. Only 11 on the map for his opponent. And so he's going to try and switch to Mass Viking to continue the air superiority, but we'll see if that indeed works or not. Making a supply depot when you have 40 supply left, kind of interesting strategy. But his economy is going to be much better. That's all that really matters. If he can continue to produce the units, he's been ahead in economy the entire time this game. But the army of Fayth has just been too strong, as he's been able to hold on to his units just a little bit better. And they're going to march in here